love to thank the Kentucky Pipe and Drum. They are amazing. Quick story about Don Lux that nobody knows. His favorite music are bagpipes. At our wedding 28 years ago, he asked for bagpipes. I said no. Our 20th anniversary, he asked for bagpipes. I said no. The opening of Lux Row Distillers, he asked for bagpipes. Third time's a charm. He also wanted a flyover. No. Gotta ask for the order. I'm Michelle Lux, the very proud wife of Don Lux, Mama Bear to Philip and Andrew Lux, and the creative director of Lux Row Distillers. Okay, that's not in the right order. We extend a very warm and sunny welcome to everybody here today. Our customers, our vendors, our suppliers, our partners, our friends, and especially to all of our Luxco employees from all over the country, St. Louis, Cleveland, all of our sales and marketing team. For the first time in over 30 years, everyone is together in one place to celebrate the opening of Lux Row Distillers. Real roots, Missouri and Arkansas. Real family, the Lux family. Real products, Ezra Brooks, Rebel Yell, David Nicholson, and Blood Oath. Thank you all again for being here to celebrate this momentous event in the history of Luxco. Before we cut this beautiful red ribbon, there are a few people who will speak today. First, please welcome the Mayor of Bardstown, Mayor Richard Heaton. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Michelle. Let's see if I can keep these on the dais, get me through this. Good afternoon and welcome to Bardstown. It's my pleasure to be with you today as we celebrate the opening of Lux Row Distillers. I want to thank Michelle and Don for allowing me to take part in this event, but more importantly, I want to thank them for your huge investment here in Bardstown and Nelson County, the bourbon capital of the world. I also want to welcome all the members of the Luxco company who are here with us today. We certainly appreciate you all making the trip here for this great occasion. Certainly want to recognize John and Nancy Ballard, whose farm we are standing on this day to celebrate this great investment. Appreciate their part in this. Senator Jigme Higdon, our state representative Chad McCoy is with us, members of our city council, our county judge Dean Watts, and members of the fiscal court. And if any of you all out there think that I make a few good decisions from time to time, you need to thank my wife Alice, who is with me today, because when I don't listen to her is when I usually have a problem. So thank you, Alice, for being here with me. But we're here today to welcome the Lux Row Distillers to our growing family of distilleries in our community. We want to also welcome the staff and thank the growing Lux Row workforce right here in Bardstown and the contractors and vendors and all their hard work who have made this distillery a reality. This investment comes as a result of a lot of other hard work and planning by many. It's my pleasure to work with people like David Bratcher, Kim Houston, who heads up the Bardstown Industrial Development Corporation, and our board. Excuse me. Certainly Judge Dean Watts and members of Fiscal Court who played a part, and our members of City Council. And I'd even like to thank, working with everything bourbon attorney, Jeff McKenzie, the Bourbon Whisperer. It's even been a pleasure to work with Jeff in this project. He is really a die-hard workhorse when he gets on a project. But we appreciate the trust and confidence of Don and Michelle that Bardstown and Nelson County was the right place for them to invest in this new distillery. I want you to know that the City of Bardstown, we're just not here during the courtship stage for your business. We're here for the long haul. We want to help make this venture another huge success in our economic development story, along with adding to the great legacy of the Lux family businesses. Our city staff and city council recently made some major changes to our sign ordinance to recognize the needs of the distilleries and their changing campuses. And this was done to make these campuses more user-friendly and to be able to safely move their visitors and their suppliers and business traffic on these properties. We recently had a major announcement for some major capital projects which will improve public safety with police and fire, both for the public as well as our corporate safety. But will also help improve our ability to provide and maintain the infrastructure needed for investments like this. And this is truly a great day for Bardstown as we celebrate the opening of this beautiful new home for Rebel and Ezra Brooks brands. Personally, I hope to see the day come when you might consider bottling your brand of El Mayor tequila right here in Bardstown. Thank you again, Don and Michelle. You all have much to be proud of on this day, as I know the founders of your company, Paul Lux and David Sherman, are so very proud of what you have done with the company they founded. And thanks to all of you who are attending today, and welcome.
I know, I'm sorry. I can't do everything. Oh, yes, I can. We have many amazing people to thank and companies to compliment. Truly, it's our own Academy Award list. In lieu of reading all of the names, we took the opportunity to print them on the back of the agenda card. Please take a look. It has been our privilege to work with all of you over the past 2 years. So I guess you're wondering how I got involved in this adventure. 2.5 years ago, I was in the car with Don, eavesdropping on a conversation he was having with David about who are we going to get to decorate the visitor center. Well, you know, that big empty space in front of the building. So I thought, okay, decorated a few homes. I can do this. I volunteered. It took about 7.5 seconds for the two of them to say, thank you very much. They were gone. It then turned into the visitor center, the retail space, the tasting room, the content of the tour itself, the floors, the walls, the landscaping, a little more than decorating. Once our mission was established, my vision became very clear. To create the look, the feel, the tone, and the content of our visitor center and the entire tour experience. To explain to everyone who we are, why we're here, where we're from, what we're doing, and where we're going. We chose the name Lux Row Distillers for many reasons, the first of which is the beautiful drive lined with rows of trees. Crops grow in rows. The fermentation tanks are placed in rows. Barrels are aged in rows. Bottles are filled in rows. Cases are stacked in rows. Do you see where I'm going with this? It was very natural. By law, the bourbon process is universal. Everyone does it the same way. 51% corn, aged in new charred oak barrels. Nothing else added to the process but water. It's how you tell your story that makes you different. Soon you will experience what stands behind me and you'll learn our story. I may be the creative director, but I am nothing alone. I couldn't be more proud of our team. Summer Arlinghouse, Faith Berger, Laura Bogart, Kim Houston, Tony Kamer, Ben Lamb, Kristen Menard, Nathan McKinney, Bailey Pressgrove, Matt Price, Pia Reinhold, Joe Seebeck, Peggy No Stephen, and Mary Stone. We made Lux Row real. We did it on time, and we did it within budget. Yes. Don and David, thank you for having the confidence in me to bring Lux Row to life. I promised Don that I wouldn't cry, so before I do that, I will turn the microphone over to David Bratcher, the president of Luxco.
Everybody looks so formal. Let's relax. I have the microphone now. I'm in charge here. No, I wanna add to a couple extra things as well to what I'm not good with writing stuff down. I'm more of a winger, but I want to add a couple extra things. First off, I think we probably have some of our neighbors at Tullamore over here. Raise your hand. Well, I thought there was. So. They were actually an instrumental part in making this happen for us, you know, building the distillery like this right here in Bardstown, the heart of Bardstown, and working with the neighbors. It's been fantastic. It was really the start of a relationship with the community. Speaking of the community, the other person that I want to personally acknowledge is Kim Houston. I know she has to be here somewhere. There she is right there. I'm going to tell you, we're standing here today because of her. You know, we looked, Don and I looked for a few different years at different places all around and talked to a lot of other counties and all kinds of people that have jobs like Kim. But Kim embraced us, opened the arms of Bardstown for us. There you go. Opened the arms of Bardstown for us. And we're standing here today because of the relationship that you introduced us to John and Nancy Ballard. I know they're here. I saw them earlier. They literally sold us their home. They lived here on this property, a historic property on the National Historic Register. And Mr. Ballard, up until today, has actually been feeding the peacocks. You may see peacocks come around here. He comes around every day. Don and I multiple times have been through here, and Mr. Ballard's helping us take care of the peacocks. So thank you, John and Nancy, for doing that. And lastly on my think list is music construction. I can see Donald right over there, and I know Tommy's in here somewhere. You know, when you do a project like this, and I'm a country boy, I come from a small town as well, and when we walk in here, and I told Tommy this at dinner last night, I go, when you can sit down and look at someone like Donald and Tommy and cut a deal, you know that their handshake is as good as any piece of paper that you sign. This is part of that creation. They've been flexible with us, all their subs, everybody has been flexible in building this huge, beautiful distillery that you have before you. So thank you guys for everything that you've done. About 5 years ago, I've been with Luxco for about 20 years, but about 5 years ago I took the role that I have now. And in our industry, things are changing rapidly, rapidly, rapidly. You just Google it and you'll see we have distributors consolidating, suppliers, things change. And Don and I knew that we needed to take a new direction for the company. And we knew that it had to be one around focus. And if you're ever at most of our meetings with our team, it's always about focus. It's focusing on the brands, focusing on what we do best. We believe in the bourbon and tequila category. And you're standing here today in front of this because of our commitment to our brands and to our company. You know, we've made significant investments into the sales and the marketing teams and the money that we spend in the market. And it really is because we believe in the brands that we have and the employees that we have. The physical assets are only part of this. You know, it started with Limestone Branch Distillery. I'm sure Steve and Paul Beamer here somewhere. They actually provided some of the inspiration to do the distillery that we have here today. I remember standing in their gift store with Steve and looking out across the piece of property, and I go like, that'd be a great place, until I met Kim. That would be a great, that would be a great place to have a distillery. And they really did show us the ropes, and that was an investment that we're very proud of. It's on the Craft Bourbon Trail. We'd encourage you. I know that most of our team is going to make a visit there tomorrow, and everybody in the community, we'd encourage you to see that as well. If you don't know, Don and I are also working on a tequila distillery in Mexico. We have wrapped up a deal on that, and all of our 100% agave needs in Exotico and El Mayor and future other brands will come out of our own distillery, much like this in Mexico. We're extremely proud of it. It's outside of Guadalajara. Can't wait to have an event there and introduce that to the public. But the most significant investment we have is here. This was a huge commitment, unlike anything that we've done as a company. We've spent and bought brands and bought other companies, but we've never made quite the investment into a single physical asset like we have here. That's because he has confidence in us, all right? He has confidence in our brands and that we can deliver on this. But what we need to understand is none of this is possible without Luxco employees, none of it, all right? It is the single biggest asset that I truly believe we have. You know, we changed our direction. The whole organization embraced the change. It wasn't just a sales direction or a marketing direction or an operations. It was the whole team. Everybody works together. It's the way it should be. I'd be lying if I said it was easy. It was a lot of changes that went on. But we're standing here today because it's from people that operate our bottling facility to the people who run our sales and marketing, our finance, our HR sources. That is the #1 asset that Luxco have. And we're happy to add a few employees here in Bardstown. And I think as you go through today, if you ask them what it's like to be part of Luxco, I think they'll give you, they'll confirm exactly what I'm saying. So, our employees are the face of our company, period. All right, and we appreciate you. And lastly, we are here today because of you. All right, so understand that, please. Well, now, get all the serious stuff out of the way. So 20 years ago, I came here, or I interviewed with a guy. It was on a Friday. It was with a guy named Paul Lux and Don Lux. Snotty-nosed, 30-year-old guy who thought he knew everything. I know some things don't change, okay? Just give me a break here for a second. Some things don't change. Interviewed on a Friday, had a phone call on a Monday. Took the job. 2 weeks later, I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, and never looked back. I could say it was beautiful, but at the time, it was a significant change for me. And I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? But as I got to know Don, and especially Don's father over the years, they really made me more than a Luxco employee. They made me part of the family. I really wish that was true. I often say I'm the tallest Lux in the family. By far. Philip's giving me a little run, but I got him beat. All right? But they brought me into the family and made me feel like part of the family, and it happens that way today. And every year it's just more and more on that. You know, and it wouldn't be proper to be standing here today if we didn't acknowledge Don's dad, Paul. I was very close with him and knew him extremely well. And he was, you know, cut to the chase kind of guy. He was my kind of guy. He was an operations guy. And he could walk through something and pick it out, and he was pretty blunt about stuff. And I can see him standing right here and looking back at me and Don and go, exactly how much money did you boys spend on this? I could see him saying it. But I also know him well enough to know that he'd had that little quirky smile that he had, and that was his sign of confidence. All right? That's the way he did it. I knew, I could see it in my mind's eye today. That's exactly what he would do, because he'd had confidence in us as employees of the company, and confidence in our partners, many of that's here today, confidence in everyone. Doesn't mean we wouldn't get questioned, but in the end, he would know that we did the right thing. So I think that is really important. And I think that Don brings that to the table as well. Don continues to carry that forward today. And trust me, the older Don gets, the more I see his dad in him. Okay? I mean, and that's a good thing. It's a definite good thing. I know that Don's dad would be, and he is, looking down on us today and has that little quirky smile in the corner because we're all standing here today because of that confidence. So, it's my pleasure to introduce Don Lux.
Oh, goodness. Thank you, David. Thank you, Michelle. Mr. Mayor, wherever he went, is he still here? There you are. Thank you for being here. I really have to follow that, I guess, huh?
You said I could say whatever I wanted to.
Okay. You didn't put the thing in about marrying one of my sisters, and I'd be working for you.
I forgot that part.
Let's talk about that. David says if he had married one of my sisters, it'd be Bratchko, and we'd all be working for him. So, thank you for being here, everybody. I see a lot of great faces out here, and this is really a great and memorable day for Luxco. Probably one that's as memorable to me as any other one that we've had. We not only have everyone who's come from our sales and marketing people from around the U.S., but the people who got up very early this morning from St. Louis and Cleveland to come here. And I also have some very special and old friends who traveled from St. Louis, friends of Michelle's and mine, who some I've known literally since I was born. And so Michelle, she said I could cry, so that was okay. So that's just really, really special to me because I've never really shared what we do and how we do it with our close friends, and to have them take the time to come here and be with us today is just a bit overwhelming. So I'm going to try to get through this without getting too emotional, but again, I wanted to thank everybody for being here. Again, I wanted to thank Michelle and her team. Well, I want to thank her first so I don't forget, okay? Second of all, I want to thank her first because if I don't thank her first, I'm really in trouble. So I do want to thank her and her team. What she was asked to do and what she actually ended up being in charge of was a lot more, but she did it all, as she says, well, in her version on budget. I'm not sure it was our version of the budget, but somehow she got into my spreadsheet and moved some numbers around. I'm not quite sure. And then when I took them out, she said, well, that was already in my budget. So, but we worked through it. So, honey, wonderful job. I couldn't be prouder. Well done. And then there's Mr. David Bratcher. So the part he left out was when he came here on his own, probably 4 years ago, knowing that we needed to do something like this, and hiring a real estate agent and going around and looking at properties, and then coming back and putting them all in front of me saying, we need to do this, and I'd say, no, we're not going to do it, we're not going to spend the money. Max will make whiskey for us forever, and I'll talk about Max in a minute. And they said, no, you need to come out here, I have this vision, and so on and so forth. So, you know, I get credit for the vision, but I have the vision because I can sign the checks. So the real vision belongs with this gentleman right here, and his idea and his forcefulness and his belief in all of you that we can do this. It's the right thing for our brands, it's the right thing for the business, and it's the right thing for us to be investing the money here like we have. So David, thank you for challenging me and getting me to do the right thing.
I'm not supposed to cry either.
Right. So those of you that are from here, there's a little tiny family kind of on that side of town, the Shapiro family, who's been here for a while, and I see Max out there. And I really need to thank Max Shapiro and his family. I think his son Andy is here with him. Max, I say he's a mentor because he's so much older than me. But he is a friend as well. But Max really got us in the bourbon business over 40 years ago. And we bought brands together. Actually, the Ezra Brooks deal and the Rebel Yell deal were deals that we did with Max in Heaven Hill. And then he supplied us the whiskey. And in fact, this wouldn't have happened, what you see behind us here, without Max helping us think through it and explaining to us that we could probably build our own facility. I mean, the fact that Evan Williams is up like 100% year over year didn't help things. But so Max, I know you're out there. I appreciate you doing this. And I actually said to Max, are you going to be here today? He said, are you kidding me? I wouldn't miss it. I want to come see how your wife spent all your money.
Thank you, Max.
Yeah, there he is. Thank you, Max. I appreciate it. So I stand before you today not so much as your chairman and CEO. I happen to have the right last name, so I guess someone has to be the chairman and CEO, but really much more as a steward of our company history and our heritage, and really what you see today behind you, David talked a little bit about it, is a culmination of years and years of foresight and risk-taking and a belief in the people and the individuals within the organization by two men who are not here today. One of them was my grandfather, David Sherman Sr., and he dropped out of school. He was born in 1902 in rural Arkansas. Dropped out of school somewhere between the 3rd and 8th grade, and he knew how to get a deal done. And he was always a deal maker. He went to work at a very young age, and somehow, he says after Prohibition, I could really never get him to admit it, but during Prohibition, he was probably running whiskey. But he became a salesman in Arkansas, worked his way up, bought some distributorships in Arkansas and Missouri, and he really just had a foresight on how to get deals done, and he was the ultimate hustler and whiskey man. But he always knew how to bring people together and get people to really come together and produce a great result. And then there's his son-in-law, my father, Paul Lux, who David talked about. The two of them could not be more polar opposites. Dad was raised in Kansas City, Missouri, born in 1930, was a great student, loved school, always wanted to go to MIT, finished near the top of his high school class, and got into MIT and got on a train, sight unseen, slide rule, pocket square, big old glasses, and off he went to MIT to find his way. Somehow those two men came together and built what was David Sherman Corporation and is now Luxco. So it was through my grandfather and then his brother-in-law, David Sherman Jr., his son, David Sherman Jr., my dad's brother-in-law, that the three of them came together and built what is today Luxco. My dad's kind of engineering demeanor and my uncle and my grandfather's knack for how to get a deal done all came together, and we were able to build a business. So their legacy today, when I think about what I was going to say today, is really critical and fundamental. And they set the gold standard for Luxco and for me. I was fortunate to get to work with all three of them and understand that you really just hire the best people you can, you trust them to get the job done, you invest in your business, and you just let things happen. And so I wasn't always that way, right, David?
Yeah, you were always that way.
There you go, good answer. So as we celebrate here today, if you think about our motto for Luxco, mindful of the past as we focus on the future. We talk about that a lot because the history of my grandfather and my uncle and my dad is a big part of who we are because of the values and the methodology to build a business that they instilled in all of us. So there's certainly been some defining moments within Luxco for those of you that have been here for a while. Getting in the tequila business back in the 60s, getting in the whiskey business, of course, Dad buying our first brand, which was Everclear, buying some brands with Max, with Ezra Brooks and Rebel Yell, and then today will certainly be added to that list. 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now, we'll all be remembering this day as a monumental day in the evolution of Luxco. So as I stand in front of you, I really couldn't be more prouder of the job all of you have done, especially the Luxco group. But our work is far from done. In fact, it's just starting here, as David alluded to. I would have never done this if I didn't have the trust in all of you to really take the ball and run with it. My work is done. I've written all the checks, okay? Well, we have a few more whiskey warehouses, so not all of them. But really, the onus is on you. These are just bricks and mortar, and as David alluded to, the bricks and mortar are just that. And brands are just brands. But brands and bricks and mortar and a company is nothing without the individuals working there and how they operate the business, run the business, and how they treat each other, not only the partners outside the business, but those inside the business, which would be their co-workers, whether it's me being chairman or the CEO, all the way down to somebody sweeping the floors. They know the expectation that's been set by me and David and everyone else, and we lead by example. It's the people that build the greatness, and they get shit done. And that's what we do at Luxco. We get stuff done. I guess I should have said stuff, not shit, shouldn't I? But David and I do talk about it. We get shit done. I mean, you have to get shit done. That's what we do. So I couldn't be prouder to be here in front of you as your chairman and CEO. I think we're going to cut the ribbon here in a minute. But thanks again to everyone for being here. It's certainly a day to remember for me. And as David said, I think Dad and Dave are looking down on us. And as we say back home, let's go Luxco, we can say it here, let's go Lux Row. Thank you very much.
Shortly, we will cut this beautiful red ribbon, introduce you all formally to Lux Row Distillers. Okay. Ready? Don't do it yet. Yeah, we gotta get pictures first.
Oh yeah, we forgot we gotta get
We gotta get pictures, because then there's no ribbon.
Michelle, can we have one of your sons on the downside just so we can see everybody's face there, please? Good. Great, guys. Everybody right here for me, please.
All right.
Ready?
Here we go. See if it works.